familiar with suspect prediction project. So this is an advanced system that allows crime investigation teams working from various cities or various states on a particular case to to work on the case together by sharing evidences and also the progress on a particular case. And one more important feature in the system is that it also predicts who the real criminal might be behind the crime. So based on the evidences and the facts and data mining on previous such cases, it also predicts, it provides a percentage of how much the system predicts a particular person or the particular accused to be of being the real culprit behind the crime.
So let's see how the system works. So we'll log into the admin module. And we'll enter the ID and the password of the admin. So this is the admin panel where he can add case, add a new officer, and do all his works. So let's add an officer first. So we'll enter the name, mobile number of that officer, and the address. And the area, like is the officer is deployed in Mumbai, Chennai, Hyderabad, something. So we'll say Mumbai, and we'll choose the image of that officer. So let's select this one and we'll say upload, and we'll say submit. So the officer will be added to the system, and let's see the add case module where you can register new case to the system. So let's say case names like murder 1, or let's say murder 20154, and let's select the officer who will be in charge of this particular case. So let's select the current officer which we added, and let's write a note that a child was killed, or whatever you want to write, and let's say submit. So what it's doing is sending the mail to that particular officer that a new case has been registered into the system, and a password for that particular case has been sent on his mail. And next we have add case officer, where you can add officer to a particular case. So let's say this is the case, and we'll add a new officer to that particular case, and we'll grant that permission and we'll grant a permission to that particular officer to log in into the case and view the case history and add suspects and all, and let's say submit. So this is again generating an email for that particular officer, sending him the ID and the password for that login. So next we have is a predict result module, where we can predict a result for the particular case on basis of its suspect added and the evidence on that particular suspect. So let's say this is the case. So the system is showing that he is the guilty, and it's received a point of 7. So let's see how he received the 7 points. So we'll go into the view suspect module, and let's select the particular case. So you can see that there are 3 suspects in this case. One is the housekeeper, second is wife, and third is the partner. So there is a physical evidence for that particular housekeeper, where he received 9 points out of 10, and then there are logical evidence for the housekeeper, that score is 5 out of 10. So its probability is around 70% of being the murderer. And next there is a wife whose logical score is 5 on basis of its logical evidence, and its probability is around 55%. And the partner whose physical score is 4 and the logical score is 6. Let's view the evidence of that particular case. So let's see the view evidence module, and let's select the case, and these are the evidences added by the officer. Next is add result module, where you can add a result or conclude that particular case or close that case by submitting a valid note for that. So let's select that the murderer was the housekeeper, and it's a note like we found him guilty. So this is how the case can be closed, and it's been added to the database. So let's see the officer module. So each officer gets an case ID and an officer ID and a particular password for that particular case. So let's log in into the case. This is the case ID, this is the officer ID, and the password for that particular case, and say login. So when a new officer or the officer logins into the system, he gets the case history about that case, that what all things occurred for that particular case. So you can see that a new suspect was been added, a new evidence was been added. So this is the view case history part. Officer can even add a new suspect for that particular case. He has to just enter the details like the name, mobile number, address and all. So let's add a new one. The suspect, its mobile number, its address, and the relationship, you might say son or something, and a note about that particular suspect, and an image of that particular suspect. So let's say this, and we'll say upload, and we'll say submit. So this way a new suspect has been added to the particular case. Now let's add an evidence to that particular case. So we'll say type of an evidence is physical or logical. So if you find any physical evidences like knife or fingerprint or something, we will just add into the physical evidence. Or if we get a logical evidence like the insurance money would go to him, or something like he would be benefited by that by the death of him, so we'll add it into the logical evidence. So the physical evidence and its name, so like pistol or something, and we'll say it was found by this particular guy. And if you want, you can add a particular image of that evidence. So if we don't have, we'll just upload any random. So we'll just upload any random images. So let's say this one, and we'll say upload. And if you want, you can enter a note that a rifle was found in his bedroom or something, or anything. And you have to enter the point for that particular evidence, like how high the rating it was. So let's say 7 for this one, and we'll say submit. Next is adding a case history. So you can just add a case history like a new officer was added to the case, or you can say just we found a new guilty or a new suspect in this case or something, and you can just submit, and it will be stored into the case history of that particular case. Next is view suspect, where an officer can just view the details of that particular suspects in the case. Next is view evidence, where an officer can just view the evidence of that particular case or something. And next is view case history, where all the history about that case has been stored. So this is how the system works. Thank you.